Hey, Adarsh.
Hello, good evening to everyone. Sorry for the delay. We are facing some technical issues and we will start session soon within 5 minutes.
So Pandey, in the meantime, can we check if my screen that has been shared is visible to all?
Yes, sir, you are audible and can you please share your screen?
No, I have already shared it. Is it visible?
Uh, right now it's totally
No, sir.
blackout.
It is showing completely dark. So the screen is not visible. A while ago, your screen was visible when you opened the presentation. The front page of the presentation was visible, but right now it is only showing a blank screen.
Is it visible now?
Yes, it is visible now, sir.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Hello. Yes. Kapurji, good afternoon. Good afternoon. Arijit this side from Mumbai, sir.
Sorry for the delay, everyone. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, our distinguished guests, speakers, and all the sponsors and delegates who has given their 100% to make this summit a success. Moving towards the next session, digital procurement is transforming the way businesses buy and sell, but the next wave of transformation goes far beyond commerce. Artificial intelligence, smart automation, connected factories, and digital technologies are fundamentally changing the way manufacturing operates. The factories of tomorrow will not only be more efficient, they will be more intelligent, more connected, and increasingly driven by data. With that, we are moving to our next session of the day, in which engaging discussion on how emerging technologies are shaping the future of manufacturing and the metals industry. So, our session titled as Industry 5.0 AI, Digital Transformation, and the Future of Manufacturing. Let me just set up the context of the session. Ladies and gentlemen, manufacturing is entering a new era, one where technology is no longer just improving efficiency, but fundamentally redefining how industries operate. Artificial intelligence, automation, connected systems, data analytics, and smart factories are enabling manufacturers to make faster decisions, optimize operations, improve quality, and build more resilient businesses. As the metals and mining industry embraces this transformation, organizations that successfully integrate technology with human expertise will lead the next phase of industrial growth. Today's discussion will explore how Industry 5.0 is reshaping manufacturing and what it means for the future of our industry. So, let me introduce with our distinguished speaker. Joining us for our next session of the day are Our first distinguished speaker was Mr. Yogesh Mandhani, but he is busy in some another meeting, so he will join us soon. Till then, moving towards our next speaker, we are pleased to welcome Mr. Shashikant Dakshe, Director, Digital Factory Solutions, Prescient Prescient Technologies. With his deep expertise in industrial automation, smart manufacturing, and digital transformation, he brings valuable insights into how technology is enabling the factories of the future. Our next speaker, Mr. Sanjay Mundada, Director, Swarna Alloys Pvt Limited, with over 3 decades of experience in sustainable stainless steel, alloy steel, and integrated steel manufacturing. Mr. Sanjay is widely respected for his contributions to process optimization, operational excellence, and manufacturing innovations. And we are also pleased to welcome Mr. Srinivas Kalakurshi, President and Chief Architect at Optimum and co-founder of Choice Solutions Limited. With over 30 years of experience of global technology, he brings deep expertise into industrial DevOps, enterprise software, and supply chain transformation. And our moderator for today's discussion, Mr. Mohit Kapoor, advisor of IFA, a respected industry mentor and strategic advisor. Mr. Kapoor has been actively involved in driving industry collaboration and encouraging the adoption of modern technologies across the manufacturing sector. His intensive understanding of both industry challenges and emerging opportunities makes him an ideal moderator for today's discussion. Mr. Mohit Kapoor, the stage is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Pandey, and good afternoon to everybody in my esteemed panel and all the audience. Friends, we are currently witnessing a seismic shift in India's industrial ecosystem. We are proudly world's second largest steel producer right now and the top player in scrap recycling, which is the basis of sustainability, green steel manufacturing, and decarbonization. But this steel manufacturing also accounts for roughly 10 to 12% of countries' total greenhouse gas emissions. This is not good for our future, considering the CBAM restrictions that we are be facing and also our social responsibilities. Because I always say it is no fun in investing our time, sweat, blood, and money today. And down the line, next 2 decades, our future generation should not be forced to carry oxygen in their backpacks like what our generation has already started purchasing drinking water and packaged water. We should not spoil the air further now. And with modern technology availability and the convergence of AI, advanced digital ecosystem, and the urgent mandate for sustainability, I believe, is no longer a future state roadmap or a luxury. It is our immediate competitive baseline, considering sustainability is now a passport for international markets and export acceptabilities. Today, as Mr. Pandey introduced our panel, we have gathered today a powerhouse panel, right from industry players who own their own factories to AI experts, automation experts, and people like who are providing certain extraordinary technologies to this industry. So we'll try to dissect how we move from a promise of these technologies on paper to a measurable, sustainable, feasible, and profitable reality on the plant floor. So as Mr. Mandhani is not, Mr. Pandey, kindly update me when Mr. Mandhani joins us.
Yeah, definitely, sir. And
Is my screen
I'll do
visible
so.
to all?
Yes, sir.
So
Yes.
as the baseline says, we are planning to dissect how we can transform this legacy excellence of Indian steel industry into a data-driven intelligence. The next slide, we had our leadership forum, which Mr. Pandey had thankfully described very well. So let's now dive deep into the first session. I always say that sustainability without digital intelligence is a burden. Why? Because it's a burden of compliance. And now let us try and seek the remarks and reviews of our esteemed panelists. So I'll start since Mr. Mandani is not yet joined. Let me start with Mr. Natarajan. I hope Mr. Natarajan is here. Mr. Pandey, am I audible?
Yes, sir.
So
Uh,
Mr. Natarajan has joined us.
no, sir. There is Srinivas, sir, Mr. Shashikant, sir, and Mr. Sanjay, sir.
Sanjay Mandani ji is here.
Yes, sir.
Ah. Good afternoon, Mr. Sanjay.
Yeah, good evening, sir.
Good evening, sir. Sanjay sir, you have spent around 35 years on the shop floor.
Yeah,
Does the tech jargon we use today actually translate to better efficiency, or is it just a noise to the plant manager? And I would request all my panelists to try and keep their answers very brief, 2 to 3 minutes, so that we can dive deep into more themes and more discussions. Over to you, Mr. Mandana.
sir. Good evening, everybody. Uh, just you are asking me about AI in the shop floor. This is
Yes, sir.
there is a uh, implementation is far not far easy for a shop floor because first challenge is the data quality. The data quality has to be very accurate, sensor has to be accurate, and the measurement has to be consistent. Secondly, the second challenge, what I believe, is the human acceptance. Experienced operators sometimes use AI as a replacement rather than their support tool. That should not happen. But this can overcome by making more and more people trained into the system. Third one, third I believe is investment. Investment in the form of digital infrastructure, sensor, industrial network, software platforms, and cloud computing. Now, fifth one is the continuous learning. Steel grade changes every time the steel grade changes, raw material varies, refractory performance evolves, and production practices also improve. These needs to be taken into system, and system has to be made such people feel that they are not getting replaced by the system, but it is what you call it as आपका जो सिस्टम है उनको एक सपोर्टिव सिस्टम लगना चाहिए. That is not
If I may add on to what your feeling may be, sir, I always say I personally don't agree with this term artificial intelligence, and I'll apologize to Mr. Srinivas, who is an AI expert. I always believe this to be an improvised intelligence, which actually you rightly said it is not supposed to replace human capital. It is actually being designed to support and improvise their actions and make their efforts multiply.
decision
So we
making
should
should be faster
yes,
based on
yes,
their data.
exactly. We should be actually the first thing that the industry want to should be changing is a mindset. AI
Right.
or automation is not there to replace human labor. It is there to improvise and multiply their efforts to predict before any shortcomings or any shortfalls are there, before any mishaps happen in the factories. So bringing this, well, I would like to, since the strategy should be of not taking it as a burden, not taking it as an expenditure, rather as a strategic investment.
Invest.
We have established that there is a gap, but there is no gap of ambition. There is everybody wants to escalate, everybody wants to elevate in their process DNA. It is the lack, maybe the lack of architecture or the lack of policy that we have. See, you can't run tomorrow's AI on yesterday's legacy code. We have to actually, first of all, change our mindset. And to move past the strategy, we should be hitting the right technical infrastructure. AI, you are quite right, sir. You when you said that data should be accurate. Sir, AI is only as good as, or automation is as good as the data that feeds it.
Right.
I
But
believe Mr. Sankhe sir is with us today. Sankhe sir, are you there in the team, sir?
No, sir. Unfortunately, some mishappening happened in his house, so
So,
maybe that's it.
no, Mr. Pandey, so we only have right now two speakers, Mr.
Three. Mr. Shashikant is there, Srinivas sir is there, and Sanjay sir is there at this point in time.
Shashikant.
Yes, sir.
Hi, good afternoon, Mohit.
Hello, sir. So,
Yeah, good
Shashikant sir.
afternoon. Yeah,
Good afternoon, sir. Shashikant sir, as industrial plants shift from isolated mechanical systems to, I can say, hyper-connected networks, cyber security, code reliability becomes very much paramount.
yeah,
The software supply chain that is becoming critical for industrial firms, we all know that. How
yeah,
should industry, when I talk about industry, I wish to cover not just the manufacturers or the steel producers, but also to the vendors who are helping us, supporting us. So, how can this entire industry and ecosystem ensure that the infrastructure that is supporting these plants is secure, scalable, and AI ready? Because recently I was involved in a conference where there was a discussion that we should make sure that these AI support tools should not become certain moles in our system because they will be having the leverage of independent decision making. So, what, as an industry veteran, you believe should be the hindrances for any such mishap to happen, sir?
yeah. Thank you, Mohit. Thank you for the opportunity. And yes, to take it further, and what Sanjay ji mentioned, I'll put my views on this little bit in brief in 3 to 4 minutes. From my
Yes, sir.
perspective, first is converting around or conversion around AI in steel industry. It should not be a longer focus on only AI will transform my industry, but how quickly organization can translate AI into a measurable business value. That makes a sense. Certain times, what happens just for the sake of I want AI, that doesn't make sense. But it has to be correlated with how measurably my business will get a value out of it. That makes a sense. So when I say this, what I feel. Across many of the skill sectors, there are certain significant investments on against the automations or digitalization. But what I feel in many plants, they face a gap between the data available and using that data to make the intelligent decisions. When I say this, what I want to say, it's basically a real-time operation decisions are lagging. Closing this gap where AI or Industry 4.0 or IoT or MES that will become a critical enablers for us. And as you mentioned earlier, people should not be treated as they will be replaced. They will be enabled more with the AI tool. That's something which I feel. And when I say this, I put it in three buckets. The first is the AI strategy versus AI execution. That's something which is there's a gap basically. The second point is data is rich because steel industries cannot run without certain automations. So data is rich, but there are certain insights which are really on a poor level. So that something has to be improved upon, right? And the third one is definitely Sanjay ji mentioned that technology versus the people. So these are the three things which I feel those gaps need to be fulfilled. And when I put a layer of these three or four things, I feel IoTs acts as eyes and ears of the system. Then definitely the MES should be there. The MES will act as a memory or a CPU for that system. Then above that, digital twin will act as a visual mirror, and AI will act as a brain of that whole system and the whole plant. So brain will massage that data and provide a real time decision making to make a real business value out of it. So this is my take on this point.
Thank you, sir. So, ladies and gentlemen, what my two esteemed speakers have just said, taking a cue out of it, building a secure code base, bringing in automation, innovating new AI tools is the one half of the coin. And the other very important half is plugging it into a blast furnace system that was built 30 years ago. He can only add on to certain layers of automation. We can add on to those layers in our expansion, but what to do about the current infrastructure that is 200 million ton production capacity, which has brought us to number two in the world. So I'll bring Mr. Srinivas into this. Srinivas, sir, first of all, I believe it is still before good afternoon at your place in America. You are in good morning, sir.
Yeah, it's 7 o'clock in the morning or 7:15. So
7:50. So we have made you being in a suit quite early today.
that is for sure. I mean, I would be wearing this without the suit, but for this
Thank you.
team, I
Thank you,
decided
Mr.
like
Srinivas, for joining you. And I assure all my esteemed panelists and audience, I've been working with Mr. Srinivas through my association IFA for last 1 year. He has been kind enough to visit in last 1 year 4 to 5 times in India for various conferences, as well as to what we call as IFA Samvad, where we go to specific clusters like Jalna, Raipur, Hyderabad, and Mandi Govindgarh. All the industry players who have interacted with Mr. Srinivasan, they all have requested, and Mr. Srinivasan has been kind enough to depute one person from his Hyderabad-based Indian office with each of the clusters to work on it. So, sir, you are actually the guy who is in the trenches with AI and ML solutions. Or if I may say, the ammunition of AI and ML, sir. The Indian steel plants are a patchwork of vintage legacy machinery and modern sensors. How do you extract intelligence from legacy plant equipment that wasn't designed for the digital age? And what one drawback and one silver lining you saw in your last approximate 1 year of interaction with the industry players who were running legacy plants with recently 4, 5, 10 years back added sensor system? How tough was it to extract, first of all, to create a mindset or taking this leap of faith or going into automation and AI and then extract the desired information? Because as Mr. Mundada very rightly said, and my one of my slides also say, AI is as good as or as intelligent as the data that feeds it. Over to you, sir.
Okay, great. First of all, Mohitji, thank you so much, and my greetings to fellow panelists. Thanks for the opportunity for the organizers. So let's talk about a big misconception that happens here. Working with the IFA and its members over the past year and a half, I try to say very simple scenarios that the secondary steel industry is very progressive in its thinking. People want to bring change. People would like to improve the processes. People would like to bring in technology if it makes sense to them. This is a set of simple findings working with many of the steel plant founders and owners. Now let's talk about, you raised a beautiful point of legacy equipment, modern sensors. How does the data, get generated? How good the data is, so on and so forth. So the good news is that we are not trying to replace any equipment. For us to bring, let's call it as technology. I don't want to even use the word artificial intelligence. Yesterday it was, or day before yesterday, it was client server, then it became cloud, now it became AI. Technology refresh is happening every 5, 10 years at the highest level. And then technology is also refreshing every 6 months, is actually applicable to individual business functions or plant floors. So when we speak about that, and you have an equipment which is 10-year-old or 20-year-old, which does not have, quote unquote, let's say, native ability to speak the digital language. So the machine is performing beautifully on the plant floor. However, it doesn't have the ability to communicate digitally. This is where actually, whether you are a steel plant or whether you are a company that is providing services and platforms, what we need to understand is what is the purpose of that machine? What kind of sensing, so-called IoT right now, right? Internet of Things. What kind of sensors actually provide the data from that type of machine and for that process? Secondly, most of the plants that I have visited have got as simple connectivity as PLCs that are actually controlling all this equipment. PLCs generate vast amounts of data. How do we actually use and harness and use that data is what is important. Besides PLCs, every factory I saw, they had quality systems, they had labs, they had manual quality records, maintenance logs. Uh, I mean, there are many, many different sets of data collection mechanisms that exist. These data collections are about the machine. So the question here is, how do we connect to generate enough base so that the most recent technology, the artificial intelligence, can actually support the way Sanjay sir said, it is not about ROIs and people replacement. It is about enhancing the decision making capability of the people. Second, enhancing the speed at which the decisions can be made. Why? Because if I'm looking at the data of yesterday, what is the point in looking at that? Because yesterday's production is already in the warehouse. And then today's raw material is significantly different than yesterday's. So my quality is going to vary. Yes, based upon yesterday's data, I can't make decisions for today or tomorrow. So the need for real-time systems is very clear. We have been working, as thank you, Mohiji, as graciously as you have said, we've been working with many clusters, thanks to IFA again. We bring real time. You saw the solutions that we put out there in terms of real time machine vision solutions to actually identify and classify various raw materials or scrap, for a lack of a better term. And then every stage of the process, including furnaces that you quoted, these furnaces all are pretty, I mean, safety is number one criteria for operating a furnace. Number two, efficiency of the furnace and the liners in the furnace, which is one of the more expensive items to monitor. The power consumption of the furnaces. All these things are very, let's call it as relatively complex. Yet, once you know the physics principles, once you know the basic ability to read the data from these areas, we were able to come up with predictions that that actually is grounded on how well the liners are withholding within the furnaces, what is the most energy efficient loads that we need to be operating. These all these insights actually start helping people like Sanjay ji and teams. So I'll stop there. I know I have taken a little longer than you asked me to stay.
Thank you, Mr. Srinivas. But you have touched to certain points that we were planned and scheduled to discuss further. Sir, you all will believe and accept that data ingestion sounds great in theory, but the harsh reality of a steel plant, that too in India, which is legacy run, is high temperatures, dust, and vibration. And these three things are explicitly excluding anything which is not being done right. These three aspects will always remain, whether it is the best run plant or it is having some issues. So, Sanjay sir, I would like to bring in you, sir, right now. So, when you look at these AI tools that are already in market or that are going rounds in discussions or something that Mr. Srinivas just told or will be telling in future, what is the make or break factor that determines if an automation system will actually last and survive in these harsh steel plant environments? My supplementary question is, how to supplement this particular queries, how important is training our existing staff, upskilling them, and bringing in new curriculum or new training for upcoming staff to make sure that they handle these automations properly, sir. Because we are actually integrating them with our old system, sir. Sanjay, sir.
Yes, sir. That is very much fact with the steel industry that harsh shop floor conditions that the metallurgists, I found that metallurgists prefer something in computer and AI and all these things, but they do not want to spend some time at the shop floor watching the furnaces and making some data collection and all these things. They need to train for collect some data, work on that data, whatever what is the legacy of that data, what I am supposed to uh, generate data. Suppose at AOD, you need to have uh, what are the transfer chemistry of the liquid material, what is my requirement of the final chemistry, and what uh, ferroalloys and all these things I am having with me. So every percentage of chrome, when it reacts with oxygen, it will generate some heat. This these calculations are not into the theory part. There are no theory part about these calculations. These calculations are done on the basis of their own judgment. What I have done, uh, 25 years back, I was having all the data with me, was working on each and every reaction, what manganese, how much manganese is oxidized, how much chromium is oxidized, and all these things. How much oxygen is required for the carbon oxidation, and how much oxygen is wasted in chromium and manganese. What is the temperature requirement for carbon oxidation? What is the temperature requirement for chromium and manganese oxidation simultaneously with Fe? These needs to be done by the metallurgist, and they must have that type of passion in them. Is just I want to know each and every part of this process. This has to be uh, आपका जो इंजीनियर्स कोर्स है इनको हमको इसी टाइप में ट्रेंड करना होगा. दे नीड टू हैव दैट मच पैशन. बट सम अभी जैसे आर्क फर्नेस हो गया, एओडी हो गया. अपार्ट फ्रॉम आर्क फर्नेस और एओडी, if I compare them with इंडक्शन फर्नेस बेस्ड प्लांट, इंडक्शन फर्नेस बेस्ड में आपका अगर देखा जाए तो जस्ट अभी लास्ट 4 and 5 years back, some metallurgists I found that induction furnace working at induction furnaces. Before that, I did not found any metallurgist. That is the problem. If we want to make a AI to run into the plant, data generation has to be there. Data generate, who will generate data? The person who has worked, who has experience, and who is understanding the process theoretically and practically both.
Thank you, sir. Gentlemen, we have yet now discussed the need and the methods or the roadmap to bring in automation and AI. Everybody will agree that a robust automation architecture or digital architecture, it does not just save the downtime by prediction, it actually saves our planet as well. Industry data is shouting that by efficient AI-driven thermal optimization, like what Mr. Srinivasan said, energy efficiency is also a major aspect. Just one aspect of coking coal requirement can be brought down by as good as 5% minimum. That is a massive win, not just for the CFOs and your financial teams, but also for our future on this planet. So let us talk about not just the need of sustainability, but also the actual financial dividends that sustainability is providing to us. It is not just a cost center, it is actually a competitive advantage as well. If we are able to reduce our energy efficiency, we are able to get rid of the CBAM related restrictions and unnecessary taxes that are going to be levied on us, that will actually help us not just to improve ourselves, make us ourselves future safe, but also to earn certain more profits. Just the carbon taxonomy or green taxonomy of this country can produce 6,000 crore rupee of market by 2030-35. The current carbon credit market of the world is 500 billion, which is expected to be 4.7 trillion by 2035. And if we are planning to manufacture 3,300 million tons by 2030, at least say rupees 500 per ton to 1,500 or 2,000 rupees per ton can be saved or can be earned. So we always say that carbon saved can be credit earned. So this sustainability is going to pay us dividend also. So let us discuss how the stakeholders can also benefit from digital transformation. No doubt it's a expensive project, but they have to be told and convinced that this is not an expenditure, this is a strategic investment. Because it is not just bringing carbon neutrality, it is also saving us to reduce the resource wastage as well. But sir, the large conglomerates already have a lot of capital to invest in green tech. The backbone of Indian steel manufacturing tells a different story. Mr. Mandani has not yet joined, Mr. Adarsh.
No, sir, he's still in the meeting.
No issue, no issue. So let me bring in the questions for. Sir, what is your take? And I would request all three of my speakers, they can nominate themselves to answer. Sir, what is your take on India's automation and AI drive helping us in negating the CBAM, which is already starting to impact Indian metal exports? So I would request now all three of you to please volunteer and how this AI will directly affect our CBAM preparedness, sir. Sir, which one is ready to take this question, sir? Because a manufacturer like Mr. Mandani is not in the house today, so I have to request any one of you three guys to answer this, sir.
So, Sanjay sir, do you want to open it with a statement or two, and then I can speak a little bit about that as well? You are the industry practitioner, so.
There is no doubt that automation and AI will not help in the steel industry. It will help. It will help in process consistency. It will help in reduction of power per ton, electric power, oxygen, then natural gas, electrode consumption. These are definitely going to get reduced by AI, application of AI. Okay. High. And these are directly linked with the productivity. Process consistency is directly related to productivity improvement. If you're consistent in a charge material, then power consumption, uh, reduce tap to tap time. It is 100%. I do not have any doubt in my mind that automation will not help the steel industry. It is going to help.
And
Great.
sir,
One more part. One more
please,
part
please,
is that the predictive maintenance. We can start with the predictive maintenance practices, not with the process itself, but predictive maintenance practices. If we start with predictive maintenance practices, we generate system which will give equipment reliability. Okay, vibration, temperature, electrical signal, and process trends to identify failures before it is happening. So we can have to make people believe in the system. We can start with the predictive maintenance practices. Okay, once people start believing in this system, we can further go for next level. That is my take on this.
definitely. Mr. Raksha, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, Sir, yes, sir, as an industry veteran, what is one golden rule for a CEO or a plant head? Both a CEO who is a promoter and a plant head who is a technical responsible head person who, if they are planning to start their automation or AI native journey, what is one golden rule that you will suggest both of them, the promoter family and the plant head, the technical head, sir? One golden rule, sir.
Yeah. The first golden rule, or one golden rule would be, first is having adoption of deployment of digitalization with AI. They should consider to have a digital roadmap with them. It should not go in a pilot mode or halfway mode. And once the start is there, then the start can be faster up and faster can be scaled up. So this can be the strategy they can adopt and go ahead. So that's one thing which I would suggest to the promoter family as well as to the plant head. And definitely there are and secondly, AI adoption should not be looked as a metric. It would be more towards getting a stronger drivers of competitiveness or profitability or long-term business resilience. So this is something which I can mention.
Mr. Srinivas, just to wrap up, since you have a hard stop in next 5 to 10 minutes, sir, you have interacted a lot with steel manufacturers, steel mill owners, whether they were manufacturing TMT or pipes or they were into DRI or etc. etc. You have dealt with the promoters as well as the technical heads. So I'm not repeating that question from you, sir. Sir, I would like you to discuss today, since in our audience today, unfortunately or fortunately, there are no steel manufacturers, I believe. There are people who are providing certain technological support, like Mr. Mundada and Mr. Dakshe. So, sir, what is your take to guide them, or is there possibility that an AI solution provider or tool provider like yourself can collaborate with a solution provider or a product or a say they all provide certain inputs or certain raw material or certain process products like lining, etc. How can these people collaborate with AI guys like you and provide a wholesome package to industry so that there aren't any cases of AI coming from some place, automation sensor coming from some place, or say a lining or some other equipment which are already in line, their process DNA coming from some other place, then again bringing two companies, two systems in line, integrating them, amalgamating them could be a problem. So is there a scope that certain solution provider or certain input provider, raw material provider, or certain, what do you say, miscellaneous item provider, intermediary item provider like Mr. Mundade or Rakshay can collaborate with you at the first step itself, sir? Is it feasible and pragmatic?
Mohit, it's a loaded question. The answer is yes, but very relevant. Um, See, secondary steel, as you said, is a massive industry by itself, and uh, no single company can solve all the problems. It's as simple as that. If somebody thinks that they are a company and they can solve all the problems, they are in a fantasy world. Number two, it is also very sparse. It is geographically distributed. As you have introduced to IFA and IFA members, there are over a dozen clusters across the country where the secondary steel industry is distributed. Third, each of these companies are currently working with some technology providers. So let's bring all these existing partnerships or existing relationships into the play and then start looking at what let's call it as new technologies are bringing to the table. I'm trying to avoid giving example of myself, but I'll quote a simple thing. If we are bringing a platform to the table, the job of the platform is to bring all these players into the same ecosystem. What the mill owners do not want is to deal with half a dozen providers. Okay. It's not just about mill owners. I mean, I've been in industry for 35 years now. Any person or any company that hires a technology company, they don't want to hear, hey, मेरा technology काम करता है, उसका technology काम नहीं करता है. They don't want to deal with that. And you know what? It is a real problem with technology industry, and
And
it is,
could be a deterrent. Could be a deterrent why we are not able to adopt these systems.
yeah,
Could be a
yes,
deterrent. Yes.
it is. And it is not a new problem that was founded by secondary steel or experienced by the secondary steel for the first time. ये तो जमाना से आ रहा है. So that problem is there. And what has happened in the last 10 to 20 years is the enterprise technologies have matured into a platform technology. So this gives room for ecosystems to work and solve industry problems. जैसे example है, you talk about everyone uses nowadays OpenAI, right? ChatGPT. So ChatGPT ka it is a technology. It is a platform. Whether I'm using it for secondary steel or you're using it for aluminum or zinc or automobile or agriculture, or I mean, in many cases, it is working as counselors to people's emotional problems. So it all depends upon what problems are we trying to solve. That is what the capability of a platform is. And what we are bringing to the table today is that type of a platform collaborated with companies like Google, which now has capability to bring every player who is there in the market to be able to interact. So your question, is there room for companies to start working today? The answer is it's not room, it is a mandate. If the ecosystem doesn't work together, I think there is no chance for the transformation that you are expecting. You are expecting the cost of production to go down. You are expecting higher quality yield to come out. You are expecting green steel to be made. And I also heard you speak in some of the conferences before, Mohitji, the significance of specialty steel. And if we are
That will be the
speaking,
that is something which will help India escalate. Unless we are making specialty steel are made in India and Atmanirbhar Bharat will not happen if we are dependent on specialty steel from abroad.
absolutely. And these are the things that are very much possible because, as Sanjay ji said, there is the whole steel industry is all about chemistry, right? So it feels engineering, but in reality, it is the chemistry which drives the output. So for us to understand those kinds of complexities and trying to make them as automated. Now, automation doesn't mean a machine. Automation means how do you actually take that basic mundane activities that a specialist, a metallurgist is doing on a day-to-day basis and simplifying their job decision making so that it can be implemented in a real-time basis. All these things are supposed to work in harmony. They need to work with each other. And there is no room. Let me put it this way, guys. There is tons and tons of business out there. No one should feel insecure. Everybody should get into the mindset of working together to solve the industry problem. Only
So,
then, in my opinion, we will be able to make very strong
so
strides.
Mr. Srinivasan, can on behalf of Markentel, I propose or request you to have interact with Mr. Adarsh Pandey or Mr. Kshitij Pandey, and in very near future try to create a webinar. Till date, you have interacted with steel mill owners. Let them create a group like Mr. Mundadi and Mr. Rakshe or other two gentlemen who could not join us today. Those all who are providing those sensors or furnace or other machinery to the steel industry, so that you guys all interact all together. You are
Yes.
able to understand from them where all they would need AI integration to make their products much more effective. Let us plan to do that. Mr. Rakshay sir, I'd like to bring you, sir, right now. What is
Yeah.
your closing statement for your industry fellows, sir?
See, today we discussed whatever we touched upon. I believe there are three or four areas which we tried to cover up. Definitely, the first one was the decarbonization as a competitive baseline. So, from my perspective, decarbonization as a competitive baseline, it won't be a only a compliance part. It would be a basically bringing in the efficiency and effectiveness in the system. The second one is the definitely the basically the human and machine balance. That's something which is needed uh, to be taken care, because while adopting digital tools or AIs, definitely our workforce has to get aligned with the digital tools. So they have to speak with each other. So that human and machine balance has to be brought in. The third one is definitely it's a concern because we are also working with certain secondary steel manufacturers. So scaling of the mid-scale market or second steel industry players, that becomes a challenge. And there one is definitely the question which arises, and that is Sanjay ji covered that part. That is a what's the ROI? What I'll get back? So that something drives, and the reason behind that would be our legacy machines, because the legacy machines has to be enabled for delivering the data or generating the data, and then after the things happens. So that cost driver is a very big driver. So that's something which has to be resolved. One more example I'll put in. I don't want to put in company's name, my company name, or any other company name. We have a significant challenge of a refractory lining inspection in our steel manufacturing. We have a solution provider in India. It's not Indian, but in Indian scenario, there is a solution provider. The solution is his fixed for fixed solution for one furnace. It costs around 6 crore rupees. I believe no secondary steel manufacturer will be able to pay that. There won't be any ROI justification. And if any, and here they have got a mobile kind of a solution which can move to two or three furnaces or four furnaces within the plant. Still, it costs around 3.5 crores. Still, it is a very high cost. So this area, I believe, people who are like our company or any other company who are Indian technology providers, we have to go back to our drawing table and understand how we can make it more affordable solution for our industry. That's something which I would like to bring in, and that we are working on that part. Same
Thank you,
thing.
sir. See, India needs industry to step in now for research and development.
Yeah.
We are totally in reverse of what international trend is. Internationally, less than 3% investment in industrial innovation is done by government. In India, it is reverse. Less than 3% is done by industry. When we as industry player always say government has no business to be in business, then we have to accept government has no business to invest into R&D of business. So it is for us to come up in front. Sanjay sir, what is your very brief 30-second closing point, sir?
The
Or an
same,
advice to the industry?
uh, once again, can I,
Sir, what is your final rapid fire 30-second advice to the industry, sir?
for the industry, we need to put metallurgists or furnace operators and give them training properly. First, make them interested into the system, generate the data. They will get interest into the new system. They will adopt it very comfortably. They should not feel that the system is burden on them, or it is. It has to be a comfortable system rather than they feel it a difficult one and not handling them with a, what we call it as यूज होना चाहिए जैसे यूज होना चाहिए वैसे कर नहीं पा रहा है पैसा तो लग गया है बट सिस्टम लगा के भी कोई मतलब नहीं निकलता है तो दैट शुड नॉट बी हैपन तो पहला तो ट्रेनिंग दे दो बट फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल इंजीनियर्स को ट्रेनिंग देना बहुत जरूरी है, डेटा जनरेशन है, और तीसरा धीरे धीरे करके इम्प्लीमेंट करना पड़ेगा। जो आपका एक कॉस्ट, जिसमें आपका कॉस्ट इम्पैक्ट बहुत ज्यादा है, सपोज एट फर्नेस द पावर कॉस्ट इज द हाइएस्ट अमाउंट एवरीथिंग। ओके, तो पावर को कम करने के लिए मुझे क्या करना चाहिए, और उसके लिए क्या क्या मुझे पैरामीटर्स को सेट करना चाहिए, उसको मुझे स्टडी करना चाहिए, और उसके हिसाब से मुझे सिस्टम को डेवलप करना चाहिए।
दैट्स ग्रेट, ग्रेट इनसाइट सर, कि प्रैग्मेटिक भी होना चाहिए हमारा एक्सपेंडिचर, हम क्या खर्च कर सकते हैं, बजट, and nobody knows better than Indians to manage the household affairs in their budget. So you have got a food for your thought, Mr. Srinivas ji, that try to find out 5, 6, 10 or 3, 4, 5 such case studies which Indian people
एक केस
should
स्टडी
adopt
बताऊंगा
first.
सर, एक केस स्टडी बताता हूँ, मेरा अपना
जी,
पर्सनल एक्सपीरियंस है। तो रिफ्रैक्टरी लाइनिंग का थिकनेस पता नहीं है मुझे, इंडक्शन फर्नेस का रिफ्रैक्टरी लाइनिंग का हमेशा का मेजरमेंट का एक प्रॉब्लम आज भी है। बिफोर अभी 7-8 साल पहले की बात है, जब मैं एक प्लांट में काम कर रहा था, नाम नहीं बताऊंगा, वहाँ ऐसे ही कुछ मैं इंक्वायरी किया, तो मुझे पता चला कि इसका मेजरमेंट के लिए कोई सिस्टम अवेलेबल है, बट दैट इज फ्रॉम जर्मनी। तो मैंने जर्मन जो कंपनी थी उनको वहाँ इनवाइट किया था, बताया था, उससे डिस्कशन किया, सब चीज पता किया, बट द कॉस्ट वॉज वेरी हाई। एक सेंसर का कॉस्ट था उसमें 10,000 रुपया, और एक फर्नेस में सिंगल लाइनिंग में 16 सेंसर लगेंगे, 1,60,000 रुपीज पर लाइनिंग, दैट वॉज द कॉस्टिंग एट दैट टाइम। तो वो प्रोजेक्ट मेरा बाजू में रह गया। कहने का मतलब है कि हम लोग जो सिस्टम लगा रहे हैं वो दैट हैज टू बी अफोर्डेबल टू मैन्युफैक्चरर एंड कंफर्टेबल फॉर द ऑपरेटर।
thank you, Mr. Kalakurji. I'll just wind it up in 30 seconds, sir. So today, gentlemen, audience and panelists, we have discussed that automation and AI is the route for sustainability, and sustainability and profitability, or green steel or profitable steel, are not alternatives. They are actually two sides of a coin only. So let us take this forward and explore new era of steel making in India. So thanks a lot to all my esteemed panelists, audience, and the organizers for this event. Adarji, you can wind up it very fastly, so Mr. Kalakurji is not blamed to leave us before the meeting was officially announced closed.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much, Mohit sir, for moderating such a forward-looking and insightful discussions. And my sincere appreciation to Mr. Sanjay sir, Mr. Shashikant sir, and Mr. Srinivas sir for sharing their valuable experiences and perspectives on the future of manufacturing. And thank you once again to our speakers, all delegates, for being part of this wonderful session.
And
And stay
Adarji,
tuned.
since we are short of time, I would request you to please, on my behalf, request and advise all our audience and delegates to send their questions, open-ended question or questions directed to any of our three speakers to you, and you should be sharing them so that we actually end up in interacting much better way. जो भी हमारे डेलीगेट्स के क्वेश्चंस हैं, क्वेरीज हैं, एप्रीहेंशंस हैं, वो हम तक पहुंचे ताकि हम उसका जवाब भी दे पाए। तो वो आप प्लीज कलेक्ट कीजिए इनसे और हमारे तक भिजवाइए। धन्यवाद। थैंक यू वेरी
Sure,
मच।
sure.
Thank you,
sir.
thank you,
थैंक यू,
थैंक यू सर।
thank you,
Thank
Mohit
you
ji,
so much.
thank you, Adarsh, thank you,
Thank you,
Thank
sir.
Sanjay,
you.
thank you, Sanjay,
And
thank you.
I just want to announce one more thing. Our next session is going to be start from 5:30. And thank you so much for all the sessions. So thank you so much.